Hardyman do bruise on the inside, but you know what? Lawrence Taylor made people bruise on the outside. And this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk entertainment. Want to talk about Lawrence Taylor being named by the NFL Network as the top defensive player of all time. Want to talk about Mike Kafka giving Daniel Jones and his receivers the flexibility needed to excel in this league. We're going to talk about Kafka a little bit because I want to say some things, but I don't want to say things that are going to offend people because we're trying to get our feng shui in here. We're trying to make this a happier, more fruitful channel where everyone is needed and loved.
You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
And anyone that believes that, you know what? You probably have never watched this channel. Let's talk about Lawrence Taylor. They asked our 10 top analysts, the NFL Network did, who was the top defensive player, and everyone came up with Lawrence Taylor. Of course, he had his 20 and a half sacks back in the 86 season when he was not only the NFL MVP, he was a defensive MVP. He was a wrecking ball. He was a destroyer. He changed the complexion of a game. Joe Gibbs said it best. First, you try to block him with a running back. That didn't work. Then you bring over a fullback. That doesn't work. Then you have the fullback and you have the tight end and the fullback. That doesn't work. So what are you doing? You're dropping your left tackle on him. He changed the complexion of the outside linebacker position. You had other guys like Ricky Jackson coming into the league around the same time. You had Hugh Green over at Tampa. But you know what? LT was always the man. LT was the man. I remember when George Rogers was taken, of course, by the Saints, and LT fell to the Giants. And how do you fall to the Giants? I mean, that's the crazy thing. I have the unique perspective is the fact that I got to watch him from his entire NFL career from day one. Of course, in 81, where the Giants won that big wild card game. It was the first time they had been in the playoffs in a long time when they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 27-21. Lawrence Taylor that year was also the defensive rookie of the year. And, he was. He was the defensive player of the year and defensive rookie of the year. George Rogers, of course, who went to the Saints, was taken ahead of LT, who we were so happy about. He was also the offensive rookie of the year. But he was a guy that changed the complexion of the league. He changed the complexion of the game itself. When you look at number 56, all you think about is Lawrence Taylor. And I always go into the annals of history, some of the legends of LT. I'm not going to get into the hookers to the other team. I will get into the hitting the golf ball out of the Meadowlands story. I love that story. Evidently, and this was actually confirmed by a gentleman that was a ball boy at the time that my family knew. Lawrence Taylor stood at one end zone and hit a golf ball out of the Meadowlands. That's impressive. There's also the talk about the time that he used to take footballs and throw them from the field into the upper deck. I'm going to do that reminiscent, of course. I'm doing that on August 21st with my 40-yard challenge. I'm dropping a 40-yard bomb on the field at Giants Stadium after the game into the end zone. We're going to do that for charity. And we're also going to be giving away a Coaches Club ticket with us. OGR Sports is going. Subscriber James Williams is going. I'm going to go. You get to all hang out with us. We're figuring out how we're going to do that. But you know what? Lawrence Taylor rightly deserves the honor because if you think about it, there have been great corners. I know Dion was a little upset. There have been great defensive ends. There have been great nose tackles. But there's only been one Lawrence Taylor. Plain and simple. Now, Mike Kafka has come out and said he wants Daniel Jones to have the flexibility and his wide receivers on offense. I get concerned about that. And Kafka came out and says, Jones loves having so much flexibility at the line of scrimmage with the protections, with checking stuff at the line of scrimmage, just with the ability to get on the same page with the wide receivers. Receivers have some flexibilities with routes, to be able to work different voids and spaces. We don't have the players that Kansas City had. You sit there, look at Kenny G, you look at Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. You don't think of them as big-name wide receivers. Kenny was supposed to be the big name, but you look at me, you figure, Sterling, you're going to see what you're going to get. Darius is a whisper from being off the Giant roster. We don't know what we have in Wan'Dale Robinson. We don't know what we have in Kenny G. We don't know what we have Kadarius Toney. And when you allow people to have flexibility with their routes, I would hope that they would be disciplined route runners. Two guys on that list are not. And both Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard, and Kadarius Toney. Those two are not what we refer to as polished route runners. I love Kafka's enthusiasm. I will give that every day, all day to him. But he started off in this league in 2017 as a quality control coach. He took over as the passing. I always love this title because it means nothing. He's the passing game coordinator the past 2 seasons. And I love it because in Kansas City, you got a lot of guys that are coordinator things. You have Eric Bieniemy at one point in time was installing the game plan and having the Walrus call the plays on Sunday. Until about 2 years ago, he switched and the Walrus stopped calling the plays on Sunday. And Bieniemy was the one that was calling the plays the last couple of years. So really, I mean, and I'm not trying to bash Kafka, but what experience does he have in reference to offering wide receivers the flexibility? You have Travis Kelce, you had Tyreek Hill, you had a myriad of running backs who you were basically just like, okay, make something happen. It's almost like sometimes when you're coaching someone like Patrick Mahomes, it would be like me coaching the 90s version of Michael Jordan. I could sit there on the sideline and go, hey, Michael, score a basket. There he goes. I told him that. So we're really going to know what Kafka is. I've said this a million times before. I don't think Kafka is going to be the guy that's going to run this offense. I do think that he is going to be the guy that helps install the offense. And that's what it is. And I think it's great that they talk about letting the peacock fly.
You can't keep me cooped up in here, okay? I am a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
Living all those years in Miami, I'm not even sure peacocks fly. And if they do fly, I don't know how far they get off the ground. But you want to let these guys loose, but you need to let them loose with discipline. And the problem with saying that we are going to give people the flexibility to do things is the fact that if you don't have discipline on the field, sometimes when you're offered the flexibility to do something, things go bad. And that's just plain and simple. That's not just me trying to be mean. It's just honest. Kafka goes on to say, I'm not big on putting guys in a box. So I like giving them the freedom, giving them some baseline guidelines to work with, and then letting those guys work it out, because at the end of the day, I'm staying on the sidelines. I'm in the press box or wherever it is, and those guys are on the field. They got to go play, so they got to make sure they're on the same page. Okay, see, red flags are just popping up all over my head right now. In that, and you could take it for what it's worth, but red flags are just popping on my head. You're in the press box or you are on the sideline. Your job is to find the things that they are missing on the field level. That's why normally the offense coordinator is in the skybox. So you can get the whole perspective of the field and see who's open, who's not open, what coverages they're running, what do they fall into at 30 and when it's 3rd and 7, what do they fall into? What kind of coverages do they work? How is the defense? What's the pressure packages coming in? Yeah, it's great when guys are on the field, but it's the person in the box, a good offensive coordinator who is in the box, the skybox that is, who is able to see the entire complexity of the field and the totality of the situation, needs to be the one that called down to the sidelines of Daniel Jones and saying, listen, they are giving too much of a cover. They're giving too much of a cushion to Kenny G on this play. The safety is sliding over too much when we do this, because you cannot see anyone who has been on the field as a player and has been on the field competitively at a high level as a player will tell you this. You are such in the zone at times, you don't always see everything. And that's all I'm going to say. You need to be the eye in the sky, Mike. It's the eye in the sky. It's the thrill of the fight. Gonna try to get a touchdown and save our lives. Just run the damn wishbone. Or the T-bone. Or the T-bone, we're calling it. You need to coach these guys up. I did not like the comment and letting those guys work it out, because at the end of the day, I'm staying on the sideline. You're the coach. Oh, it makes my head hurt sometimes, but you know what? We're going to get through it. We're going to have a better season than last year. We're going to have a lot of fun. Might do a stream tomorrow with the Dahmer on Wednesday. We haven't figured that one out yet, but we'll get that locked into place pretty time soon. We're also, like I said, we're all going to do we're going to do a giveaway. I don't know how we're going to give the ticket away, but we have one Coaches Club ticket left for the August 21st game against the Bengals. Coaches Club, of course, is the fact that you get to go, you get your seat right on the 50, and then, I think the highest row we're up is like 18. Plus, you get to go on the field level. You get to go on the Coach Club. You get to eat all the food. We're going to be giving that ticket away somehow. I don't know how we're going to be doing it yet because I'm also doing the 40-yard touchdown challenge pass. We'll talk about that more later. But again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk entertainment. And as always, if you could if you subscribe, if you're going to that bell, that'd be awesome.